In the year 1978, a boy named Yusuf was born in the new city of Kizilhisar village of Bursa. This child works in the field, herds animals, carries tea in the coffee shop, does cheesemaking. Then he graduates from the Hotel Management Tourism Vocational High School and starts looking for a job for himself a little above the minimum wage. Yusuf is watching Tom Cruise's movie Cocktail and admires the determination of the bartender here. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe for more content and like and support it. December. The movie titled Cocktail changes Yusuf's life and he goes after starting his own business. With that decision, KÖFTECİ Yusuf opened his first branch in Bursa, Iznik in 1996 and his first branch in just 4 Tales. Because its branch is close to Istanbul, because Lake Iznik is a tourist area, this restaurant attracts visitors because it is also close to that region. Then he opens his second branch in Orhan Gazi Yeniköy Junction, and Yusuf's business is going well here because it is on the road. The third branch is becoming a turning point for him. This branch is either OK or continuation branch. Bursa is making the decision to open a third branch opposite a shopping center on the old Yalova Road. His friends say, "Yusuf, don't do it. There's already a shopping mall there. You can't pass it off as a competitor. It'll eat you up." But he thinks the opposite and says that there is already a big audience there. If I go there, if I do my job properly, I will get a share of that audience. It really happens, as he said, and he is very successful in the third branch. By the year 2000, 100 branches are being opened, let alone the third branch. Today, it provides services at a total of 278 points. On average, 90 tons of meat are consumed per day in the facilities of KÖFTECİ Yusuf and Yusuf Akas. It has more than 12,000 employees, and 70% of them are women employees. The total number of visitors in the year 2018 is 50 million people who visit the points of Meatball Yusuf. He also says the following about his interviews for Istanbul. He says that our branches in Istanbul host 20,000 people daily on average on weekdays and 30,000 people on weekends. There is even a discourse like this. Maybe you have heard it too. There is a rumor circulating among the owners of shopping malls called Save Us Brother Yusuf December. This means that some shopping centers are below their capacity, they cannot reach enough consumers. Unfortunately, although there is a shopping mall craze in our country, it has still managed to fail in this regard. There are some shopping malls. They also say come and open one of the branches of Meatloaf Yusuf in our shopping center. Because they know that if that branch opens, there will be people who come to that shopping center just to eat meatballs at Meatball Shop Yusuf. Well, of course, if these people went there, even just to eat meatballs, when they go to the mall, if we've come all the way here, let's take a look at a store or two, they'll definitely say. At this point, the shops of the shopping center will start selling, the shops will be able to rent as they sell, and the owners will be able to profit from their investments. When you evaluate this whole situation, there is another discourse like this. Shopping centers do not demand the rent of the store they provide at the same time while making this offer, but I don't know how true this is. As I said, this is a discourse that only I have heard, a reasonable point of view actually. If we really think that only one business can attract 10,000 people to a shopping center per day, it might make sense not to take profits from that facility, that store. Which KÖFTECİ Yusuf himself already says. He says that we have the ability to attract 1,000 people a day to a shopping center. I said that 50 million people visited in 18 years of 2000, a turnover of £900 million was made. So this means that on average, one person per person has left the table for £18. We can say with a rough calculation. Of course, the company has grown very healthily in Turkey, as we have described. It has reached so many branches, but he has other goals. They say that we are now planning to expand abroad as well. KÖFTECİ Yusuf Akas, says in an interview they gave at 2019 that we are planning to expand to the United States, Gulf countries, and Germany in the next 5 years. In fact, our opening strategy will not only be to export meat there, we plan to produce meat there. In this regard, he says that we are conducting our research, feasibility studies. That is, how profitable it is if this work is done. We are making preliminary evaluations of it. Now let's get to the secrets of success in this story. As you can see, there is not a very long history. 28 years is okay. Not a short time. But there is no incredibly deep-rooted history of up to years. 1 years. So how has this success been achieved in these 2 years? The first one says that Meatball Yusuf, we always watch our competitors. Let's see what our competitors are doing well. We try to do better what they do well. Let's see what our competitors are doing badly. Whatever they do badly, we will try to do it well again. I know the best. I do the best. Not, we'll take a look first, no matter what job we're doing. What are the people around us doing? What can we put on it? This is what I consider to be the second secret of success. Right now, he's still spending 80% of his time going to and from branches. Now, like many big bosses, he can actually go and build himself a huge room. He can sit in his chair in that room and try to perceive the state of his company through the statistics put in front of him in the reports stacked in front of him. But he didn't do that. He even served his customers when he arrived. We can also say this as the third point of success. You can see that he really has the goal of improving his business and is doing something for his business. I'll give this as an example. There is a model called the lean manufacturing model. There are lean systems. These are the models that industrial engineers are especially working on, and you can improve production lines more, make them more meaningful, increase productivity, and make them simpler. In this regard, they receive professional support from the Lean Institute and try to make these processes, all their processes, leaner, more meaningful, more efficient. Another application is mobile applications. They have also implemented this, and they are also taking orders through their mobile applications at many points. And I can say this very comfortably that today you will not completely install an application yourself that does not get into these phones, does not produce applications for this smartphone, does not serve the applications produced. From the simplest, you may be a caterer, but you will continue to sell your products in the food basket. Here you will continue to sell at dinner. Somehow this will be doomed to loss. Who says that I will stay out completely? Who does not enter into my environment? It is very appropriate for them to see these and take precautions. And let's come to perhaps one of the most important rows of success. After all, in the middle, we are talking about a meat, a product. And the story of this meat is very important. Where did this meat come from? Where did he start from? What did he go through until he came to the plate of food in front of us? Meatloaf maker Yusuf produces 20% of its meat itself. They have farms in the Marmara region. It's produced around here. 70% of it comes from contracted farms. He also gets 10% from large wholesalers. But there is a criterion here. He says to the sellers from whom he buys meat, I want to know everything about the meat you sell me. I want to see everything. He says, I want to see what happened to this animal after it was born, how it was fed, all of this, all of it. There are systems where they can see these. And this pork incident may also be a contamination incident caused by suppliers. Secondly, I mentioned the topic of nutrition. In nutrition, it is like this. Related to how these animals will be fed, what they will eat, they have already determined the feed ratios, etc., and ensure that they are fed accordingly. Then the animals that reach the desired standards are brought to the slaughterhouses and slaughtered. After decapitation, it is rested between 0 and 4 degrees and transported by vehicles with cooling properties. After being transported by these vehicles and brought to the facility, samples of the meat are taken at the facility and the meat is examined. Both the quality control unit examines, and the veterinarians again carry out the inspection of the meat. In the products that meet the standards, if there are no problems with the products, if the standards are met, cold storage is transferred. Then these meats, these carcass meats, are mainly cut into pieces with the help of machines. Whatever is to be done on the production line is Whatever is to be done on the production line is now distributed to the relevant regions according to whether sausage is to be made, meatballs are to be made, entrecôte is to be made from that meat. Then, after the desired production is made, they are vacuumed and packed, and they're on their way. And we have come to the most important point and one of the most asked questions. Now everyone says, why is it so cheap here? Why do they offer services to people at such a low price? I wonder if there is soy in these meats. Soy, as you know, is a cheap product, and as the counterpart of meat, it is placed in many products. For example, many dumplings that you buy from grocery stores actually don't really have meat. They have soy, and they ask Yusuf, the meatloaf maker, about this. He also says, I have hundreds of branches. If one of my competitors goes and orders a meatball at any of my branches, for example, if he buys it from meat, has it tested in the laboratory and soy comes out of it, then discloses me to the press, he says, I can't even do this job anyway. So he says that if I have such a defect, it's already very easy to reveal it. Of course, he says, we do no such thing. Anyone who wants to come and take samples of our meat, he says, and I will pay the laboratory fee, have him tested. He definitely says that such a thing does not exist in our meat. Well, despite this, when it is said, how can you offer it so cheaply? He says that we produce by tonnage. When you think about the cycle I've described, we have factories. We produce tons of meat, and it tells people that we can keep our costs low with low car margins of meat. because we don't bring any vehicles in between, because we don't get together with other businesses in any way, because we don't have a franchise, because we do some of the production entirely by ourselves. That is, because we don't involve external stakeholders in the business as much as possible and do things on December. This is how we can feed meat to people so cheaply, economically, or rather, he says. Now, friends, you see how much more value the things people watch, the things they hear, the things they see, the things they listen to from someone can add to their lives. He watches a movie when he is little or at a young age. And with that movie, in fact, his life is significantly shaped. That movie is a source of inspiration for him. In this amazing story, we see that logical steps have been taken somewhere in the business, the right decisions have been made, the right things have been done. So that's why, even if you do your own job, work alongside others, the reason why your rise has not reached a good point is to do your job properly, to separate from others, not to make the same mistakes when you see others' mistakes, to always put out better, the best. We have come to the end of another video. Goodbye for now until we see you in the new video.